Hey everybody, and welcome back to some more Frostpunk. It's currently day 7, it's 3:48 PM, 10 degrees Celsius, and things are looking pretty good. We've got a chapel, we've got a bathhouse, we've got enough tents to house all of our people, a couple of workshops, and then over here we have 2 lots of docks, 1 getting us wood and 1 getting us steel. We do have 65 people who are hungry, but we do have enough people to feed them all, so that is fine. We also have 1 person who is sick but not gravely ill, and so we should bear him in mind and maybe build a medical post fairly soon here. However, that is not my top priority. My top priority is this basic facilities quest in the bottom left. We have got just 1 day and 23 hours left before this quest expires, and to complete it, we have to get a fishing harbor or a forager's camp up and running, and on top of that, we also have to build the telegraph station and request more people or supplies. So under the construction tab, we now have access to the telegraph station, which for now, I guess we can put down like over here and then just build a little path to it from our pre-existing path like so. And then as for the fishing harbor or the forager's hut, I think we did unlock the research for the forager's hut, if I remember correctly. We did. We got the forager's quarters. Now, I'm not quite sure if that's the same thing as a forager's camp. We can also set up a fishing harbor. However, I believe the way that the fishing harbor works is it takes up one of the slots that we would normally use for docks. So if I go and select the docks real quick, you'll see we've got 1 spot over here and 1 spot over here. And I think if we wanted to build a fishing harbor, it would take up one of these 2 slots. And so right now, I'm kind of leaning more towards going with the foragers as opposed to the fishers. But I'm also not quite sure what forager's camp means, but we'll give it a go. We'll throw down a forager's hut like that. We also have the Open House of Pleasure quest at the bottom here, which I think is going to complete itself in the evening because it says open the public house. Our public house is already open. It's closed right now, but it will open at 7 PM, which is just a few hours away, so that is fine. We've just completed drawing boards, which now gives us access to the second tier of research here. What do we want to go with first? So we could get protective structures. Installing lightweight protective structures across the workplace will temporarily reduce the number of injuries caused by falls and blunt trauma. Each use will improve the workplace safety by 1 level for 24 hours at the cost of 6 structural profiles. Okay. We also have the machine shop and the ventilation plant. So all of this stuff is in regards to actually building the generator, which we've not done yet. Over here we have more foragers, which lets us build another forager's quarter and assemble another team, which is interesting because it makes it sound like the foragers are kind of more like scouts or outpost teams. Unlike in our last playthrough where you could just assign people to hunters' huts, it looks like you have to put together a team of foragers and then send them out to go and find food, potentially. We could sign the fishing harbor, but as I mentioned before, I don't think that's necessary just yet. We also have forager carts. Thanks to using carts of a new, lighter design, foragers will move 50% faster. Sure, let's do that. Just because I'm a little worried about completing this quest here. We only have 1 day and 21 hours left to complete it. We also did realize at the end of the last episode that having 15 people assigned to this woodpile is highly inefficient. Because if memory serves me right, the woodpile with 15 workers is bringing in about 4.4 wood per hour, whereas the gathering post with only 10 workers is pulling in about 6.6 wood per hour. And so I think it makes sense to take people away from directly working on the wood pile or the steel pile and instead building, 1, 2, 3 gathering posts nearby and using those instead. News from London, the line is open. Good work on setting up the construction camp. Now that we have a line of communication, use it to request resources. We will provide what we can, be aware that your camp is not the only project we supply. There are 2 other construction sites in your area. Together, these 3 generators will secure shelter for inhabitants of Liverpool should the worst happen. Their fate is in your hands, do not let them down. We shall succeed, and we can also now order resources in the telegraph station. So now, if we open this up, and again, I'll pause real quick here. So we have a logistical limit at the bottom here. Currently, it is set to 45. And then each of the 3 resources, being steam cores, workers, and engineers, have a cost. The steam cores cost 20, the engineers cost 4, and the workers cost 2. And so I believe we can kind of pick a mix here. So we could take 2 steam cores and a worker, and that's what we get in our first shipment. I think for now, we just want to get as many workers as possible, because I think the thing that's going to help us, speed up is getting like basically all of the wood and all of the steel off of the docks. And if we get like another set of docks going, getting more, resources off of those docks. Also, I do have a feeling that as soon as we start building the generator, we're going to need even more workers to partake in that as well. So yeah, over here in the foragers' quarters, we can create a group of foragers with 20 wood, 15 workers, and 10 steel. We've got the steel, we do not have the wood or the workers. Now, we're filling up quite quickly on coal, and we're not really using all that much. We're only using 72 per day for the bathhouse, and so I think what I'll do for now is I'll take maybe 10 workers off of the coal mine, ready to assign to the foragers' quarters in the morning. And then I think as soon as we get a little bit more wood, we'll also look at beginning to build more of these gathering posts so that we can start gathering our wood and our steel much, much faster off of the docks here. We're also 17 hours away from our new workers, and so we do need to bear in mind that we are going to have to build at least 3 new tents if we want to house everybody. I don't know if we're going to be able to get all of those tents within the range of both buildings. Although we might. I think if we put like one here and one here, those might both be in the range of the bathhouse. But I don't think we're going to be able to get the third one in there, unfortunately, no matter how hard we try. Also, if we don't want this person to die, the person who's sick, we should really look at getting that medical post up and running as fast as possible. We do have a bit of a visual glitch here. I did notice before I started recording that this in the middle, like this shaft, used to be, I think, on the side, and now it's not. And there's also a glitch with like people walking over the giant hole in the ground. It's not a huge deal, but it looks quite amusing when you just watch people walk right over it. I guess maybe the chapel is really getting some work done. We do have 90 people who are hungry. I do wonder if that's because at the end of the last episode, we got rid of the cookhouse. I don't think people need the cookhouse to eat. I thought the cookhouse just made the food, but I could be wrong about that. We'll get a street built there for our forager's hut. We also have the ability to unlock yet another piece of research. And I think I might start with like the machine shop or the ventilation production. Both of these, I believe, are required to actually start building the generator. The machine shop allows us to produce steam exchangers, and the ventilation plant allows us to improve work safety across the construction site, consuming 24 coal per hour. Okay, so this is going to make working safer. I'm going to go with the machine shop. The machine shop itself does require a steam core, which is interesting. Although I don't think, given that we can request steam cores from England, I don't think that steam cores are going to be as scarce in this playthrough as they were in the original. I can't help but notice that the House of Pleasure law has not been completed, despite the fact that the pub was very much so open last night. I'm not quite sure what that's about. We will go ahead and put together our first foragers team. So this kind of looks like the scouts from the first game. I assume scouts are not really necessary this time around because we're getting all of our resources from England. We don't have to go out looking for our own resources. We kind of have them just coming to us. I guess all we really have to do is look for food. So I guess we'll go out and look for these reindeer tracks and see if they can get us some reindeer meat, bring that back. We do only have 1 day's worth of food, which is not great. I will build the cookhouse just in case that is what's holding people back in terms of being able to eat, because we do have every single person hungry. All 90 people are hungry right now, which is definitely not ideal, to say the least. Now, next up, I think we'll go with ventilation plant. But before I do that, I do want to make sure that we get a medical post down, because we are a little light on resources. So let's put one right there for now. And I think we'll pull one engineer off of one of the workshops to assign them to the medical post, which will hopefully cure this one sick person and prevent him from dying. There we go. Assign one person. Hopefully he is instantly put into the medical bay, and there are 22 new workers who are now instantly homeless. Thankfully, we do have what it takes to build 2 more huts. Unfortunately, we do need 3 more huts, and so it looks like 2 of the new people are going to be sleeping outside tonight. The good news is that we do now have a medical post, and so if you get ill from sleeping outside, you can, go hang out in there. I can't help but notice that our one sick person has not gone to the medical post yet, despite the fact that it is accessible, right, via path. Our forage is only an hour away, which is good. We do only have 13 hours left. I'm a little worried. Hopefully they can set up a camp by these reindeer tracks, because we've still not completed this basic facilities quest yet. Move on. A partially eaten reindeer carcass lies in the circle of trampled, blood-stained earth. The tracks lead further. This is not good. Nesting place is 8 hours away. Hunting grounds are 9 hours away. We have only got 13 hours left. I'm going to go to the hunting grounds. They seem much more promising than the nesting place in terms of maybe being able to set up a camp. If we don't manage to set up a camp, I think we're in trouble. Because I think, unlike in the first game where all we really had to do was kind of keep our people happy, this time around we also have to keep the people back in England happy, right? Like this time around, we're here as one of the workers, right? We're being overseen by other people. And so not only do we have to keep people on the ground happy, we also have to keep our, overlords, our bosses happy as well. So something to bear in mind. One of the homeless people fell ill. That's fine. We do have 4 people being treated. I did not realize that so many of our people were becoming ill. One of our people died. Gosh dang it. Our first death. One of our people has just died. Sickness, accidents, and deadly cold will keep claiming lives in this harsh world. We need to dispose of the body. Open the Book of Laws, or people can take care of it for themselves. I'll open the Book of Laws here. So we have 2 options. We can either do on-site burials. Basically, we'll bury the people who die here on this work site, which gives us a cemetery and then no risk of disease from unburied bodies. But motivation will decrease with each burial and will also fall just right away when we sign it. Or we can sign repatriation of bodies, which means we'll send the bodies back to England. It gives us the morgue, still no disease, but we have to prepare the bodies to be moved, which costs wood. I think I'll sign that just because, as I mentioned in the last episode, I really want to make sure motivation stays as high as possible. And speaking of motivation, one thing I did notice between episodes while looking through the tutorial summary on the left here is that it actually tells us how much efficiency gain and loss we get if motivation gets high enough or low enough. So if we get our motivation bar above that 75% line, then we get just a flat 30% bonus to efficiency, whereas on the other side, if our motivation falls down below 25%, we get just a flat negative 30% to efficiency all around. So really important that we, hopefully, it looks like we do have motivation above 75. We do, and we actually have that 30% increase right now, which is fantastic. Hopefully we'll see even more wood being gathered and even more things being made, but crucially, we want to make sure that it never falls below that 25%. That's when things start to get, really bad and probably start to spiral down quite fast. I'm still very worried about the fact that our House of Pleasure quest is not completed. I think I'll maybe turn it off and then maybe no, I'm going to turn it back on. I want the motivation up there. The motivation falls below the efficiency line if I turn it off, but I don't know how this works. Is this a bug? Open public house 1 of 2? I'm fairly certain you can only have 1 public house at a time. There can only be 1 public house in the city. Maybe if I turn it off and turn it back on again? Nope, that's still 1 of 2. I have no idea how that works. Either way, we've got 4 hours left. Hopefully, we can set up a camp here. Watering place. The gentle banks of this swiftly flowing stream form a convenient watering place. We could set up a camp here for some time to hunt animals coming for water. Site discovered, small waterfall. I see. You should definitely set up a camp here, because that finally completes the basic facilities quest, and now we have generator shaft structure. Now that you have the basic infrastructure, it's time to start with the construction of the generator. Build a profiles manufacture, then produce 8 structural profiles that will allow you to set up the shaft structure. Okay, so right now we're 5 hours ahead of schedule. There's no time frame on this, we just have to get it done. Oh, I see. The deadline is day 16 at 3 p.m. So we have got 7 days a week to build the profiles manufacture, produce 8 structural profiles, and to set up the shaft structure. Okay, so now we have a little bit of time pressure. We also have a new tab down here, generator construction overview. Oh, look at this. So we got work safety, safe, unhealthy, harmful, dangerous, and deadly. So we do have to worry about how safe it is for our workers. We also have our stock, our current progress, and then some optional upgrades at the bottom here. Okay, so right away, we should build the manufacturer, right? Oh, so this goes in the middle. I see. Okay, we'll put that there then for now. And hopefully we can get this first quest done. We then have another one for day 25, then day 35, and then day 45. So that's kind of our timeline. Troubled father. Sir, supply ships occasionally carry stacks of post designed for the crew. For security reasons, every inbound and outbound mail is opened and read, but we may sometimes require instructions from you regarding our censorship policy. In this case, a worker received a letter from his wife informing him that one of his daughters is gravely ill. Dire news such as this may impact the morale of the crew should we redact the part about the sick daughter. So we can either censor the letter and discontent will rise, or we can not censor the letter and motivation will fall. And I think by this point, you've probably guessed where I'm going to go with this. I think that we can lower discontent through other means. At least for now, our discontent is rising up slowly, but I think we can take care of it. I think people right now are unhappy due to the lack of food. I think once we give them food, they'll be fine. I really want to keep motivation as high as possible, because if it falls, then the efficiency falls, then we start missing deadlines, and then I think we just lose. And so I'm going to censor the letter. Is it the right thing to do? Definitely not. This man has a daughter who is ill, but it needs to be done. We'll assign 20 people to the profiles manufacturer. We got another bubble as well. Foragers' quarters. Sir, now that you have built the first foragers' quarters, you can direct the foragers to explore the plains and set up foragers' camps, which will provide us with raw food. I see. Oh, let's do it now. Let's do it now. Let's take a look. So I think right now we have our one team of foragers acting like an outpost, producing 80 food per day, 80 raw food per day. And I assume if we wanted to get more food, we'd have to set up another foragers' quarters. I'll get another team going, which we can do if we get more foragers. And we do have access to a new research right now, although we do not have anywhere near enough steel to actually get any of this done. And the reason that we don't have any steel is because currently we're not collecting any of the steel from the docks. So let's go ahead and assign people to it. Of course, I do want, well, there's only one person there. Of course, I do want, preferably, we'll take people off here, I guess, for now, to put down another gathering post for this. Also, are we gaining more wood? We are. So thanks to that motivation and the efficiency bump that it brings, we're now getting 8.6 wood per hour from the gathering post, as opposed to the standard 6.6, which is very nice indeed. Hopefully, once we get a little bit of steel, we can put down a gathering post over here and start bringing in even more steel and also hiring less workers. Over here, we might not need a whole 20 people working on this, but we should probably start scheduling the structural profiles. Now, each one does require 25 wood, which means we're going to need 200 wood if we want to get all 8 built in the next 9 days. And that might mean that we should potentially maybe switch this dock out to wood. Or at the very least, actually, right now we're making too much wood for this one gathering post. At the very least, we should just put down another gathering post to bring in even more wood, because we have enough wood, being brought to us. We're just not collecting it anywhere near fast enough. So let's put down another one of those, hook it up with a path. People are hungry. A few people are starving. I see that. I will feed everybody. We have 3 days to feed everybody and stockpile 48 food rations. I think we can do this. It's a big promise, but I'm going to sign it. I think we're going to fail the House of Pleasure quest, just because I have no idea what's going on. I'm going to deconstruct the House of Pleasure. I know motivation is going to fall. That's fine. We're going to rebuild it right away and get that motivation back. I just don't know what is going on with this quest here. I can't open 2 houses of pleasure. That's just not, it's not humanly possible for me to do. So I'm going to rebuild it. We'll reopen it. That was a slight waste of resources, but that's really all I can do. I don't think I can do anything else. I'll be interested to see what it says when I fail. Speaking of failure, though, let's get the morgue down as well before we fail that quest. I'll put this we're kind of running out of space that's not going to destroy trees. We could put it back here, but I don't really want the morgue to be too close to where people live. I'll put it over here for now. We'll build a path out to it. I guess we can probably also request more people now. We can. We have another ship available to us. I'm going to take more workers. I know we still have 1 homeless person, which is not ideal, of course, and I will build a new house soon, but we need more workers. Due to high motivation, efficiency rises by 30%. Nice. Sir, people are so highly motivated that many of them perform their jobs with enthusiasm. The efficiency in all workplaces, as a result, rises. Well done. Nice. That is good to hear. People are a little bit discontent, but they're also fairly happy with where things are at right now. So let's take 10 people off of gathering wood directly, and we'll assign them to the gathering post. And then let's also, as soon as we get a little bit more steel, put down a 3rd gathering post so that we can, once again, save on workers and increase our efficiency on steel. It's just a no-brainer to put those down. The morgue has been built. Motivation rises even higher. Motivation is at an all-time high. It might fall when this House of Pleasure quest fails. Nevertheless, I'm going to pull a few people off of steel just to put them on the cookhouse, because we also need to make sure that we feed everybody in the next 3 days. Otherwise, motivation is most certainly going to fall. And speaking of food, you can see just by feeding people, the discontent has gone down significantly. So I think discontent is almost always the right choice to take if given an option. You broke your promise to open a brothel within the declared time. Did I need to do something? Wait, hold on. Hold on. The hungry were fed. Nice. So our motivation's gone right back up. That's fine. Did I miss something here? Public house. Is there like a thing in here that I need to do? House of pleasure, 0. Workers, patrons. I don't think there's anything I can do here. Maybe I have to wait till it's open. I did sign the law, right? Like, I'm not losing my mind. No, I signed the law. People can work in the public house to increase motivation. Let me know in the comment section if you know what I did wrong there, because I have no idea. The good news is that we have a ton of wood, so we'll schedule like 3 more of those profiles, and we'll also go ahead and put down that gathering post. Right about there. And then also, before I forget, and before I click on that there, I'm going to pause. We've got 25 more people coming on the boat, so let's get 3 more houses down, 3 more tents down. I haven't checked the tech tree too much, but I do wonder if we have bunkhouses and or regular houses available to us. I don't know if it's necessary given how warm it is. I also don't know if it's going to get colder or not. It doesn't look like it. There's no tab for people, so I guess we don't need to worry about how warm they are. Maybe? What we do have to worry about is how safe they are. Work safety, safety concerns. Sir, a few of our people fell ill from breathing strange fumes wafting from the shaft. It could have been worse. One of them passed out and fell from the scaffold. We can't ignore health hazards any longer. From now on, the safety level of every workplace at the construction site will be monitored. If it's low, people working there will get sick. If it's very low, they might get injured or die. I will improve safety. You'll have 2 days to pass a law that improves safety, or we have to make do. Discontent will rise. Motivation will fall slightly. Now, I wish I could look at... I can't escape here. I wish I could kind of look at the laws before I agree to pass a law. I guess we could say that we'll do it and then just not do it, which I think I'll do. I mean, I'll take a look at the laws, and then if they seem too much, then we might not pass one. But this is our other tree then, I guess. So unlike in the first game where we had the choice between faith and order, this time we have the labor book with extra laws in it. So we have short shifts. Shifts will be shorter. Motivation will rise, but less stuff will get done during a day. Not great. Dispensary, we could use the newest experimental medicines to treat the gravely ill. Cures gravely ill to ill. It doesn't cure them, it just changes them from gravely to normal ill. Over here we have safety procedures. Enforcing these will compel people to work with less haste and greater care. This will temporarily improve safety in a workplace at the cost of efficiency. That's okay if we can combine it with high motivation, because then we're still round about 100% efficiency. And then up here we have extended shifts, which I guess is really not what people want, and 2 shifts. We can accomplish our key goals twice as fast if we throw twice the manpower at them. New shift length. You can permanently extend the workday on any facility to 24 hours. Workplaces on 2 shifts need double the manpower. Working on 2 shifts causes discontent. Discontent will rise slightly. So I'm contemplating safety procedures. People will work slower but safer. Workplace safety rises by 1, but efficiency falls by 25%. So the quest here is to introduce short shifts or safety procedures. We have to, if we want to keep, people happy, we have to sign one of these 2 laws. Now, the good news is that neither of them are permanent. I think both of them just give us an ability, because this one says you can shorten the workday. Like, I don't think we have to. And this one gives us the ability to enforce safety procedures. Now, I think for now, we'll go with short shifts because it gives us a motivation rise. Although, real quick, what is our current... I don't know if people are actually working in there, but they're working here. Currently, they're working 10-hour days, 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. And so, if my math adds up, an 8-hour day is 80% of a 10-hour day. So it's only a 20% loss in work time, whereas the safety procedures drop efficiency by 25%. So my logic here is that shorter shifts should be the way to go. Let's do it. We're already at 5 out of the 8 structural calls, which is good. I think in general, it's going to be good for us to be ahead of schedule on all of this stuff, just because I have a feeling at some point things are going to take a turn for the worst, and being as ahead as possible seems like it's always going to be worth it. Food-wise, we're doing just fine. Coal also seems to be fine. Let's check the economy, though. So coal's actually not fine. Coal's a little down. That's okay. Again, when we get our new shipment in, we could assign a few more people to the coal pile. Eventually, we might even have to start requesting coal and or turn off the bathhouse. I don't want to turn off the bathhouse because I'd rather not have an influx of sick people, but that might be inevitable. Now, I can't help but notice that, you don't have a path. Is that the problem? You need a path, you need a path, and you need a path. I was wondering why my one friend here was still homeless. and it's because of the lack of pathing. And it's a good job we caught that because our 25 workers are here. So can I request a new thing instantly? I can. This limit rises over time. I was wondering if it made sense for us to just instantly request a new shipment, but it looks like it might be worth kind of letting that simmer and kind of rise up over time and then doing a big shipment all at once. Maybe. No one's homeless though, which is fantastic. I do wonder if I can squeeze a gathering post between the steel and the wood. Like if I could put one down, I can't, like right there. Would that gather both wood and steel? And furthermore, does that mean that we get, like if you do that, do you get half as much of each, or do you get the same amount and basically get just like double the number of resources? I would have to imagine you get half as much of each, but we'll give it a go. We'll see what happens. We do have an increasing number of sick people, which is definitely not great. We'll schedule another profile. These are built very quickly, and we almost certainly don't need this many people working here right now. It does have a work safety of unhealthy. Let's lower their working hours. Now it's safe. Bad omen. This morning, the camp is strangely quiet. People pass the bad news in hushed voices. An owl is perched atop the scaffolding, despite it being broad daylight. They were superstitious even in the best of times, but here, in this remote, harsh place, they see it as the worst omen. Worse than a herd of black cats. Workers refuse to even look at the bloody bird, never mind shoo it away. I see. Discontent rises. Not ideal. As I was saying, I don't think we need this many people working here. We are about to build the 8th structural profile, though, which is good. Let's also assign some people to the gathering post here. It looks like, for whatever reason, this is not actually gathering wood, despite the fact that I thought it was in range. Let's also assign 10 people here, and then take everybody off of this. And for now, we'll assign some people to this wood. Even though it's inefficient, it gives them something to do. Although, I thought we had people assigned... Did I mistakenly take people off of the docks, as opposed to taking them off of the wood pile there? So now all we have left to do here is to set up the shaft structure. How do we go about setting up the shaft structure? It's here. Boom. 50 people. This structure will support the massive bulk of the generator and transfer the tremendous force produced by its operation on the foundations. Okay, so let's take everybody off of the profile manufacture, and let's move everybody, or at least most people, over here. We'll take these 6 people off the wood. You can go on there as well. Right now, it's dangerous, so we will lower working times. It's still harmful, which is very much so not great. Harmful's 2 levels under safe and 1 level away from dangerous. It's going to take 1 day and 8 hours to finish at the current rates. Okay, I wonder if we should build the ventilation plant. Allows us to build a ventilation plant which improves work safety across the construction site, consuming 25 coal per hour. This building provides the whole construction site with fresh air, improving safety in all workplaces, uses 25 coal per hour. We also have protective structures. Each use will improve workplace safety by 1 level for 24 hours at the cost of 6 structural profiles. Which is what, 150 wood? 150 wood a day to keep that going? That is pricey. Let's go with the ventilation plant. 25 coal per day seems a lot better than 150 wood per day, even though we wouldn't have to do the wood every day. Also, like if I take the workers, if I leave like 1 worker on there, okay, I think we can balance things out, because having 10 people working at the public house has the same benefit to discontent and motivation as having just 1 person. And so if we want to min-max this a little bit, every morning we can take 9 people off of the public house and put them onto the shaft structure. And then in the evening, we can put them back on the public house to work there. Even though I'm not quite sure why we need more than 1 person working at the pub anyway. We do have the ability to sign yet another law. Work standardization. People working on the short shift are well rested. If we plan their work carefully, we can use their full potential. Workplaces will be 10% more efficient during short shifts. Using short shifts will cause a little discontent. Discontent will rise slightly. I'll sign it. I'll take the discontent. And so long as that doesn't affect our safety, which I don't think it does, I'm happy to make people a little bit more efficient at the risk of discontent. Hopefully we can get this done faster, because right now I want people working in the shaft structure for as short a time as possible. So if we can get this built faster, less time is going to be spent in there, thus less danger, thus hopefully everything works out A-okay. Food-wise, it's still doing fine, despite a few people being hungry here. We're actually A-okay in terms of food. Over here, we can now request more people. Again, I think I'll wait. I do think that we're going to request yet more workers because, boy, do we need them. What's up with you? No gathering resources in range. Excuse me? Excuse me? You can't... Hold on. Yeah, these two can both gather wood, and yet you cannot gather the steel, but you can? Also, if I'm not mistaken, this was gathering steel earlier. Although maybe it wasn't. Maybe I'm mistakenly remembering that. Although I would have assumed that this would also be gathering the wood, but it looks like maybe it's a bit far out. We'll deconstruct that. We'll rebuild a new one in the morning that's a little bit closer. So like right about there, next to the other one that's actually getting resources. All right, let's take almost everybody off of the pub and put them on the structural shaft. We're at 88% efficiency. Ventilation plant has been researched. How expensive is the ventilation plant? It requires 25 wood, 50 steel, which is the bit that we're missing, and then 1 steam core. This is only 20 hours away from being completed, which is good, but at our current rate, that's 3 days, right? Because they're only working 8-hour days. What happens if I switch them to longer shifts? It's just more dangerous. It doesn't actually affect their motivation. It's just 100% danger related. Now, we've got 2 options here. We could go with medical post upgrade, which if people do get ill from the generator, we can just heal them faster. Or potentially we could go with protective structures. We might even want to get like our own sawmills going. We did accidentally research this earlier, but getting 80 wood per standard workday is pretty good. I don't know if we can get automatons in this playthrough to like automate the production of wood. It doesn't look like we can. I don't see any. Let's go with protective structures just because I'm a little worried that safety is going to be a problem. Speaking of which, toxic gases. So we have a situation. We've detected dangerous concentration of toxic gases across the whole construction site. Breathing them will make people sick, but we'll keep them working. We have no choice. The gases are venting from the depths of the source, and their toxicity levels change constantly. We'll monitor it and warn you when it changes 24 hours in advance. Workplace safety falls by 1 level. It was already low. We're back down to dangerous despite the shorter work times. And also we now have the current gas toxicity level, which is currently at low. That is worrying. And it makes me feel like we should probably initiate safety procedures, but this is where the balance has to come in, right? This is where we have to balance things out, because a minute ago, it looked like we were doing fine. It looked like we had loads of time. Whereas now, it's going to take like 2 days or 3 days to finish this, even at our current rate, because people are going to stop working at 4 p.m. And it's also dangerous down in the mine, so people can start to get sick and then stop working, and the game is really making us make some hard choices. Do we have 50 steel? We don't, so we can't even get the ventilation plant down, which is kind of what I want to do. I want to get the ventilation plant down to hopefully reduce the danger levels over here. There's 50 steel, so let's pause and put down our first ventilation plant. I'll put it down like here, because I might extend the workday for 2 hours if we can get this up, because I would really like to keep things going. Oh, wow. This is now dangerous, but does the time has gone up. It's now 1 day, 11 hours. Does the danger level affect how long it takes things to get done? Like, are people slower when it's dangerous? Maybe? No ventilation plants are active at this time of day. Okay, so it's after 6. We can have these on 24 hours, but that seems unnecessary. For now, we'll set this to the same 8 till 4 that these guys work. So hopefully, come morning, this will be not dangerous. It's still not great because it's just going to go back down to being harmful when really we want it to be healthy or safe, which it seems like at this point is really just a pipe dream. And also right now we don't have enough steel to do any research, so we're going to have to wait till tomorrow before we start with any of that. And judging by how full we're getting on wood, I think the next bit of research I'm going to do is probably the resource depot upgrade, so we can start to stockpile more of everything. I really don't think it matters if we assign 10 people to the public house. I don't think that changes anything. I'm not a fan of the gas that's showing on the screen now. You can see gas in the center ring, I guess to indicate the toxicity that's currently at play. I'm not a fan. And I'm also a little worried that we might not hit this deadline. Okay, this is back to harmful. We do have the option with the structural profiles if we get 6 of them. Now, I feel like we might as well do that. Maybe let's pull a few people off of wood gathering for now. We've kind of got enough wood at the moment. If we put them on this and then, oh. Gosh, dang it. Can we not go one day without something going wrong with this freaking generator? Work safety, workers trapped. Sir, an explosion in the generator's foundation caused a tunnel to collapse, trapping several workers. Unfortunately, we can't send a rescue team since we don't have one due to a low priority given to the workplace safety in the shaft. The crews working there lacked the adequate training. No rescue team available due to low safety level. It was right in the middle. I was doing almost everything I could. We can blow up the cave. The trapped workers will live. Construction progress will be set back by 40%. Or we can keep working. The trapped workers will die. Motivation will fall greatly. Oh man, this is a tough decision because I don't think... Obviously, I want to save our workers. But setting the progress back by 40% is rough. It hasn't told us how many workers are trapped. It just says several. If it gave me a number, I could work with that, because if it's like 2 people, then, you know, leave them. As bad as that sounds. But if it's like 30 people, then of course blow up the cave. I think for now, I'm going to stick with my guns and try and keep motivation high. We're a few days ahead of schedule. We might have to up the work hours back to normal, and we might have to pull some people off of the docks to get, you know, the work numbers up. But let's blow the cave in. Discontent is so high. Okay, how are we doing? It says 11 hours. I don't believe that. Let's pull some people off of steel and assign them over here. We'll take one more. Assign that over there. Let's also schedule 6 structural cores so that we can increase the safety of this workplace. It's dangerous no matter what because the gas level's gone up. So even if we do extend work time, now it's just downright deadly. So we'll take it back to being dangerous. Gosh dang it, we can't even extend the working time. Construction site strikes, you can't strike! You madmen! Oh my goodness, sir. People at the construction site have stopped work. A worker... Oh my, we need to do something. A worker climbs an overturned wheelbarrow and shouts to his fellow workers, "We saved our friends, sure, this time, but as long as the deadline is more important than us, such catastrophes will keep happening. Who's going to slave now to repair the damage, and how many of us won't make it home in one piece?" I chose you! I chose you guys over the deadline. They're on strike. We have got 3 days. Okay. We can negotiate with them. Workers are angry and refuse to work. They shout about exploitation, terrible working conditions, and deadly dangers they face daily. What will you promise them? Better working conditions. We have to get it above dangerous. Safety procedures. We'll have 3 days to pass safety procedures. Try and appease them with extra rations. So give them food, or think about it. I assume this is in order from like most likely to work to least likely to work. So I assume this is a dice roll with the extra rations. I will sign safety procedures. If you get back to work, who should we lean on? The first strike is over, but it won't be the last. We need to address the labor issue if we are to finish the generator on schedule. Workers would like to be given a voice and be involved in the decisions, while engineers promise you results if you rely on their proven expertise. Will you empower the workers and establish a labor union, or strengthen the engineer's role and build a factory inspectorate? Now, I'm not going to lie, guys. If you hadn't have just been on strike, despite me explicitly choosing you over the deadline, I might have gone with you. However, that's not what you did. You made my life significantly harder. And so you know what? Engineers, congratulations, you got the job. You can inspect factories. Unfortunately, that does mean that we have to wait 2 days now before signing safety procedures, which we need to sign in order for people to not go on strike again. Thankfully, we're only 9 hours away from completing the shaft structure, but the workplace is still dangerous, and we only have 1 of the 6 structural profiles required to up that with protected structures. Gosh dang it. Guys, so much happened in like the last 10 minutes of the episode here. I was not prepared for how many things hit the fan at the end there. That is absolute madness. I think we need to get maybe more workers, maybe more engineers at the start of the next episode. But for now, guys, as always, If you did enjoy the video and you want to see more Frostpunk in the future, go ahead and hit that like button. It really does help out a lot. Leave a comment down below, subscribe if you're new here to get notified as soon as new videos go out. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.